guys, it's Tyson with Not Your Mama's Theory. This video is in response to the video posted by Jacob Winterfeldt on this channel. The topic that he chose to discuss is GMOs. So this video is my response to his question, are there any health risks associated to humans in the consumption of genetically modified organisms? I think the way he put it is, what's up with GMOs? So this video is just my initial response to that video. I haven't done any in-depth research. I haven't gone, and interviewed anybody about this. I'm not an expert on it. It's a topic that's pretty new to me. So this video, just my initial response. Future videos, I'll present a little bit of research that I've actually done, and hopefully we can get a better understanding of GMOs and help answer the question that Jacob posed about what is GMOs. Also in this video, I'm going to pose another question that I want Winterfeldt and Clement both to think about and maybe do a little bit of research on their own and see if they can come up with answers for it. So what is a GMO? There's basically two definitions that I can tell for what a genetically modified organism is. The first one goes way back to the beginning of human history, where we would selectively breed two species of plants. One of them maybe didn't have a characteristic or trait that we wanted, and the other one did, and hopefully by putting them together, planting them close to each other, mixing the pollens, whatever, we could get plants that would grow that met our needs. And the second one is the one that I think most people are highly opposed to, because obviously GMO is a really controversial topic right now. So the second one is something that I think is what people think is bad. And it's basically what we call recombinant DNA technology, where we take a plant that has a trait that we like. A really popular one, for example, is being insect repellent or pest repellent. Taking the portion of the DNA that provides that trait, extracting it, duplicating it, and putting it into the DNA of the crop that we're trying to grow, corn, for example. I think people's biggest concern with this is it's just not natural. Nature obviously didn't create the corn to be this way. We took the DNA from one organism and put it into another. Whether it poses health risks or not, Winterfeldt, I don't know, honestly. As far as I can tell, just from a little bit of basic perusing on the internet, there doesn't seem to be any conclusive evidence that proves that genetically modified crops have health issues. I guess if you're just going to take the word of everybody on the internet and listen to what they're saying, a lot of people will tell you that they're definitely sensitive to GMOs, or they so-and-so knows someone that got cancer from eating GMOs. But conclusively, there's no widespread study that I can find that proves that there's health risks. Again, I haven't looked a whole lot, but some basic searching hasn't really turned anything up. The only thing I found was one study from a scientist in 1998 named Arpad Pusztai, where he showed that genetically modified potatoes might have a correlation with intestinal damage in rats. However, the people funding his research pulled the funding before he was able to even publish his preliminary results. Maybe it's some sort of collusion between higher powers. Maybe they just didn't see any benefit in the research. I don't know. We can talk about that more. If you have more on that, feel free to talk about it. However, when I think about GMOs, there's a couple of things that actually seem really good to me about them. The first is they're a great way to sustain feeding nutritious food to a growing global population. It's estimated that by 2050 there'll be 9 billion people living on Earth, a lot of them in urban and rural areas. Places like China and India are expected to just explode in population, as they already are. And feeding that many people is no small task. There's only so much arable land on Earth that we can use to grow nutritious crops. Food security is a major issue globally right now, and making sure that we can feed people and keep them nourished is something that's like at the forefront of a lot of people's thought right now. So some of the benefits of GMOs is they allow us to grow more crops in smaller spaces while maintaining nutritional integrity. It's been proven that we can do this. So great benefit. One of the other benefits I see to it is we're using less pesticides. Since we're taking DNA from natural pesticides, BT is a really common one. Natural pesticide lives in the dirt all around the earth. We're just taking that, putting it into food, keeping them pest-free. We're using less synthetic pesticides that are bad for the soil. We're not scorching the soil or burning the soil like we've done in the past by using these synthetic chemicals, and those aren't ending up in the food either. So that seems like a plus to me. Couple areas of concern that I have, however, is just the unknowns. Obviously we're seeing a rise right now in cancer rates, food allergens and sensitivities. Whether or not I can say that GMOs are actually to blame for this, I don't know. It's possible that our massive increase in intake in sugar over the last century might play a huge role in that. Sedentary lifestyles, just differences in life now and 100 years ago might have as much to play in that as GMOs. But more research obviously might show us that GMOs are in fact bad. The EPA, as far as right now, has confirmed that things like BT don't have any adverse reactions in humans or adverse effects, and that they're safe for consumption. Further testing will confirm this or will deny it, but we'll find out as time goes on. A little bit more research might help us find out what's really going on. One of the other concerns that I have is that GMO farming is expensive. The seeds for GMO farming apparently cost a lot more than your traditional conventional seeds. So how are we going to move this technology into areas in the world where population growth is really an issue? Places Africa, China, India, poorer areas in the world that may not have access to some of the farming luxuries that we have here in America. One of the other concerns that I have has to do with the GMO crops breeding with wild crops. What happens to the wild crops when they start getting the DNA from the GMO crops in them? Do they become insect repellent also? One of the threats that I see just to the natural ecosystem is since BT is lethal to insects, including several pollinating insects, if crop Y is pollinated by an insect whose food source is crop X, which is a GMO crop, and insect dies, what happens to crop Y? How are GMOs going to disrupt the natural flow of things as far as that goes? What effects do GMOs have on the soil? That's another question. I want to look into that, talk about that a little bit. But the question that I want to raise to maybe further this discussion a little bit is, as far as GMOs go, what alternatives to GMOs are there that can maintain food security, providing affordable, nutritious food to areas around the world where we need it, that maintain and support global population growth. So think about that, guys. Post responses in your next videos, and we'll go from there. Thanks a lot.